So dot product is basically a multiplication of vectors, but it's its own style. So here, let me show you how it works. The formula is up top. So given vector v equal to 2i plus 3j and w equal to 5i minus 6j, find v dot w. So all you do is multiply the i's together and the j's together. That's it. So 2 times 5 plus 3 times -6. So when you do a dot product, you will not get a vector back. You'll get a scalar, actual number. So this would be 10 minus 18, which is -8. So this is the dot product of v and w. Okay, so you have a bunch of questions like this. You just multiply them together, and you'll get a number back. You'll also get, let's see here. So given v equal to 2i plus 3j. Actually, let me use the other notation. V will be equal to 2 comma 3. W will be equal to 5 comma, actually, I almost wrote the same thing. 2, 3, and 3, -2. So part A, find the dot product. So all you got to do, same thing, multiply the I components plus the j components. So this will be 6 minus 6, 0. Now, whenever you get a 0 on a dot product, that means that the vectors are orthogonal to each other. Basically that they're separated by a 90-degree angle. That's all that means. But they will ask you as well to find the angle between two vectors. And let me give you the formula for that. V and W. 1 second. So the formula, to make it easier for you, just do the angle between, which we will call theta. It's going to be cosine inverse So I went ahead and solved theta for you. Just plug in the dot product up here and then divide by the magnitude of each vector. So use this formula to find angle between two vectors. But notice how our dot product is 0. So that means that this top part will be 0. So it doesn't matter what's down here. Right? It's going to be 0 no matter what. So we can skip that step. We'll get 90 degrees, which means that the vectors are orthogonal to each other. So we didn't really have to do this part. Just getting a dot product of 0 means that the angle between is 90. Or perpendicular if you prefer. Any questions on using these two formulas? Straightforward or no?
So far, so good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and you guys come on this page?
Not yet, sir. Still writing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no rush. Just let me know.
All right, I'm good. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay. This next example is another formula. So when they ask you to decompose, actually, let me double check that's even in your homework. 1 second. Yeah, it is. Okay. Decompose V into vectors V1 and V2, where V1 is parallel to W, and V2 is orthogonal to W. Okay. Decompose. 1 second. I think it's fine. So V would be 12I plus 4J. W is negative I plus J. V V1, so you gotta calculate V1. So here's the formula. It's gonna be V dot W over the magnitude of W squared dotted again with W. Once you find that, V2 will simply be V minus V1. So the hard one is this guy here, the V1. Okay, so let's find the dot product first, and then the magnitude, I guess. V dot W is equal to 12 times -1 plus 4 times 1. Okay, so there's a dot product. Magnitude of W squared would be the square root squared of 1 squared plus 1 squared. And magnitude was you add these, you square each component, add them together, and square root. The square cancels the root, so we end up with just 1 plus 1. Right? Now, if you prefer, we can show the step here. Okay, so we got everything we need. Now we can do V1. So V1 is equal to, let's write the whole formula out one more time. V dot W over the magnitude of W squared dot W. So that will equal -8 over 2 dotted with W. So -I plus J. Since this is just a scalar, we'll just scale this up. No big deal. So that will be be 4I minus 4J. Because 8 divided by 2 is -4. -4 times -1 is positive. -4 times J is -4J. So this guy is V1. Find out. V2 will be easy. It's just V minus V1. So that will be 12I plus 4J minus 4I minus 4J. So there's V2. Any questions on decomposing two vectors? Or sorry, decomposing a vector V.
Yeah, what is actually the what is the answer that we box off and actually put in the problem?
Oh yeah, so yeah, it's a little weird, right? So we're taking a vector V and we're breaking it down into two vectors, V1 and V2. So V2 is what we're looking for, and V1. Now let's look at your homework because I'm out of examples here. V1.
Also, sir,
Mhm.
in the absolute value of the vector W, should one of those ones be a negative one?
Technically, yes, but we're gonna square it, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was thinking that correctly.
Yeah, you're right. Put it in there, yes.
Sorry.
There we go. Now it's more correct. Also, if they ask for projection, I forgot to mention, that's this formula here, pretty much. Projecting V onto W be this V1. Let me show you the homework. So it starts off pretty chill. You do well. First, it has some theory about formulas and whatnot. But it starts off the actual computation. It's U dot V, so you just multiply these and add them together. So a few of those. Then it gets to you doing dot product of two vectors and then another one, which won't be too bad. Just work in here first, which will give you a number, and then multiply times V. So who cares? Real quick, this is a zero vector, not the number zero. Well, I should say this is a scalar zero multiplying on a vector V. So technically it is the number, but when you multiply it on the V, it doesn't just turn into zero, it turns into a vector filled with zeros. Then that vector multiplied on W makes another vector full of zeros. That's why the solution is 0, 0. It's not the answer 0. Does that make sense? Anyway, just basic dot products. Just make sure you remember what 0 means. Then you have find the angle between, like we just did. Here they write it in the component form. So if you find the unit circle numbers and change it back to this form, you'll do the same thing. Angle between. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's move on to the next section. You guys have any questions on what we just talked about?
When changing from the unit circle to just a number, is it
Oh, what's
going
up?
to the angle? So like it says pi over 3, whatever. Is that going to like the degree or
Yeah, just find
so-
sine of pi over 3 and replace it with that number. So for the y value. So just use a circle and then you convert them to like square root 2/3 or whatever it is. And you'll just have numbers instead.
So it'd be like square root of 3/2.
Yeah, like
Oh, okay.
exactly. This like, I think it was it sine of pi third? Is that what you said?
I think so. I just used the number that I remembered seeing.
Yeah, I think that would be yes. Square root 3/2 times I or wherever it was. It'll be the same. Just change it to numbers using the unit circle and then start.
Oh, okay.
Okay. (8.5), the complex plane. So complex plane, basically what they do is they combine imaginary numbers with the real numbers and create a two-dimensional space called the complex plane. So the complex plane contains all numbers, all real numbers, and all imaginary numbers at the same time. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's find. I guess we could just do these here. Give you a picture, so that's how your homework starts out. There's some theory questions. So match the complex number with its representation in the complex plane. So this right here is considered to be a complex number. So anything that has an imaginary piece attached to it is technically a complex number. Although real numbers can be contained within the complex numbers. So you could write a real number as this, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. So this problem is asking us to graph this. So treat the y-axis as the imaginary part. Treat this part as the x-axis. So where is this point, right? So it's going to be this guy. It's 1 on the real axis and then 2 on the imaginary. That's all you do. This is the, where's my pen here? This is the imaginary piece. This is the real piece coming from here. Does that make sense? That's literally all you have to do to plot an imaginary number. Sorry, a complex number. Are there any questions on that? So here's the same thing. They're just having you use this plotter. So -6 on the x, that's the real part. 4 on the imaginary part, right there. So it's -6, 4. Okay. Number 9 and number 10. Well, we can do these, but there's not much to do. Let me write down the name of the section. 8.5, the complex plane. Okay. So far, straightforward, right? Then we'll skip the graphing questions, if you're cool with that. Find the sum of the complex numbers. So they give you something like this: 3 plus I plus 4 plus 8I, which will be, so you literally just combine like terms. So there's not much to do here. 3 plus 4 is 7. I plus 8i is 9i. There is my complex number. So nothing insane, right? So subtraction and addition will be similar. The parentheses actually didn't really do anything, but they're treating this as one complex number plus another complex number. But just add the numbers together and add the imaginary numbers together. That's it. Okay. There's one that's might be a little more difficult. Let me find the formula just to be safe. Okay. Let's do this example here. This is a good one. Find the distance between points in the complex plane. So let's say they give you 1 point, 2 plus 3i, and 5 minus 2i. So what you first have to do is find the difference, and then you use the formula. So what's it? Double check that actually. It sounds strange. Yeah, it is. Okay. So basically the distance, d, is equal to, yeah, try to simplify this formula for you. It's equal to the square root So let's say I call this my A and B. This will be my S and T. So you would square the difference between A minus B plus the difference between the S minus T, no imaginary pieces. Okay, so the distance here would be 2 minus 5. Oh, shoot. It's the other way. B minus A. Double check here. Hold on a second. Trying to make a new formula for you, but I think I messed it up. 1 sec. Let's see here. Yeah, it's the second minus the first. So B minus A plus T minus S. Yeah, so this first one was wrong. So the answer will be 5 minus 2 squared plus -2 minus 3 squared. So 3 squared plus -5 squared, which will be the square root of 34. This is my distance, 5.83 units. So if they ask for distance, just subtract them. Final point minus the first point. And then square the components. Or you could do it all at the same time like this.
Sir,
Yes.
how do you get the calculator to spit out 5.83? Every time I enter it, it just keeps giving me the square root of 34.
There was a button, remember?
Oh yeah, that button. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I remember now.
All right. No worries. So I could have sworn we talked about that.
It's been a long day. I'm sorry.
All right. It does feel like a long day, doesn't
I pulled somebody's prostate out today and it took forever.
That sucks.
It does.
Why did it take so long?
Cancer.
To make sure everything was out.
Yeah. Also, when we took it out, the lining over his rectum ended up being super thin. So we had to call in general surgery to look at it and see if like we perforated in the process. And that took forever, but we didn't perforate, so we're good.
Oh, that's good. That would
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah. I mean, it's like right when you take out the prostate, it's literally right next to your rectum. So like if we opened a hole right there, it would suck.
Yeah, I'd imagine that'd be really tough to heal.
Yeah. So
Lost him back for the rest of your life.
What's that?
I mean, potentially,
Dag.
if it doesn't heal right.
Yeah.
Have y'all gotten a lot of people from that get flown in from Del Rio?
I haven't really heard anything about that specifically. I mean, our cases have been really steady, if that means anything. I don't really know much about patients beyond what I'm doing to them.
Yeah. No, my sister used to be a surge tech here in Seguin.
I know we do get people who transfer to us a lot, but I don't know exactly where they come from. I only get told the information that pertains to doing surgery on them.
Yeah. No, gross. Ew.
Sorry.
No, it's my mom's a nurse. My sister's a respiratory therapist. I have an aunt who's a nurse. I had an uncle who was a paramedic. I have a grandma who's a nurse, and they all tell me, Becky, it's a good thing you didn't get into the medical field. Like, yeah. And they all sit around the dinner table and talk about cases they've had and all that stuff. And I'm over there turning green.
Oh yeah, like I can tell you cases I've had where I've done trauma surgery on somebody who got shot like 3 times in the stomach or something, but it was a small round. And so that 3 shots to the stomach bounced around. And so it ended up being more like 10 holes in your intestines instead of 3.
I'm surprised you survived.
I'm not sure that one did, but I don't really know much about what happens to them after I finish operating on them, which is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, yeah, it is weird.
I'm not their doctor though, so I don't do follow-ups. I just do the surgeries.
Hmm. I think that's it for 8.5, actually. Guys have any questions on that? Is that pretty straightforward, or is it?
Seems
Is that just
straightforward, but
fine?
I also spent like 5 minutes earlier wondering why I couldn't hear you. And then I realized that I never disconnected my iPad from my Apple TV after I turned my TV off.
That sucks.
So, yeah.
No, I've been there. There's been a few times where I'm muted and I've been talking for 10 minutes and nobody heard me. You know? Like, dang it. Why
I'm
isn't
not
anyone
trusting
responding?
myself anymore today.
Yeah. But there's some good news. We only have one section left in the whole class. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I still need to catch up on a lot of the homework though. I swear I have it in my notebook. It's just I need to actually put it into the thing.
Hmm.
And then I also have to do a group project for that chemistry class that is just me working. And it's yeah, it's a group project of just me. And
That's
it's a
fun.
lab report. It's a lab report worth like 10% of my grade that I'm doing all by myself when I don't have time to barely do the one part that they said I was going to do.
They just get a 50 on it and take the 5 points.
Yes.
Shoot, 95 is all right, right?
C's get degrees. Actually, I'm doing well in that class despite the fact that the teacher sucks. Like,
Yeah.
I'm teaching myself chemistry via YouTube.
Is he new or?
She, I don't know if she's new. I think it's more of just nobody can understand anything she says. And she teaches in a way that like is not good. Like she teaches not good. Like
Okay, gotcha.
like
Yeah,
she's
I
one
think
of
me
those-
and Gabe are about to have a deep and committed relationship when it comes to chemistry too.
I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain why this teacher is bad. And it feels really bad to say that because I have a lot of sympathy for people who teach. Because I teach people how to be surgical techs, you know?
Hmm.
Like I'm actually a preceptor for surgical technicians who are going through school right now. But like I don't know how to explain why she's bad.
I guess maybe just lots of little things. Maybe that's what it is.
It's more like nobody can understand what she's saying. Like I'm serious about that. I'm not convinced she can actually fully speak English. Like you'll listen to her talk for 20 minutes and you maybe pick up like only 3 minutes of the words out of that 20 minutes that she talked.
Damn.
And I know it's pretty bad. And it's gotten to the point where I'll tune in and I'll check in for the video for the Zoom meeting, right? And then I just won't listen to her because there's no point because I'm not going to understand what she's saying. And then when she is talking in a way you can understand, she's only talking, she's reading off of the PowerPoint. Like word for word reading the PowerPoint.
Huh.
And I'm like, I could read the PowerPoint alone.
True.
You know, like,
Yeah, I try to stay away from PowerPoints because I figure, yeah, like you said, you can read it yourself. I'd rather focus on how to do stuff than,
I feel like PowerPoints aren't useful to math teachers.
no, I mean, there's people who use them. There are math teachers that use them. I don't recommend it. But I could see it being simple. I'm just gonna click through examples and see if you understand it.
It's not a very good way to teach. And then she'll read it in the most monotonous voice, a voice you can't understand, but you just know she's reading the prompt, like reading the slide. And you're like, why are you just reading the slide?
My
Like,
child teacher in high school was like that. His only saving grace was he moved around, but still was guaranteed within 5 minutes I was asleep in his class.
she also does this thing where she'll get to a slide that's actually important. She'll get to a slide that's actually important and stay there for 2 seconds and immediately click past it. And then she'll go to a slide that's not actually all that important, like at all, and stay there for an hour.
That's mine. He speeds through the important stuff and then talks our ears off about the not important stuff.
And
That's
it's
so
weird.
weird.
It's really weird because
Why
I can,
though?
I don't know. She'll hang out on a slide that has like a picture of a balloon for 20, 30 minutes. And then we'll get to a slide that actually has like equations and shit that are useful for doing the math of chemistry. And she'll be there for a second and click right past it. And I'm like, what the fuck, lady? Why did we hang out at a picture of a balloon for 20 minutes?
Maybe she's trolling you guys. I don't know.
It feels like it, dude. Like if you're gonna read off of the slides verbatim, why would you skip like so quickly over something while I'm writing it down? Like I can't even write anything down, anything possibly useful. I can't
Did
write
she at
down.
least send the slides to you? Or?
I mean, the slides are available online, yeah. But here's the thing: if you're gonna just